It's preparing the live streams, just needs about 5 more seconds here. And I do not recommend that you have YouTube up on your screens because there's a 20-second delay and it will be really troubling. Okay, we are live on YouTube.
Are we ready to go?
Yes, we are, I think. Let me double check it on my other screen over here. Yes, it is live on YouTube and viewers can watch it. All right, this is good. All right.
Ready, Amy?
We're ready.
Okay. We'll call the Norwalk City Schools District's Board of Education regular meeting to order. This is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020, and we apologize. It's 7:41 p.m. Apologize for the delay, but there was some technical glitches. So we'll take a roll call right now, Mrs. DuPont, the roll call of this historical meeting.
All right. Mr. Linder,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Ritzenthaler,
Here.
Mrs. Schnellinger,
Here.
Mrs. Wick.
Here.
Okay, at this time, we will all recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of
United
the United
States
States of America
and
and
to
to the republic
for
for which it stands,
one
one
nation
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
Okay, adoption for the agenda. Is there any additions, this late additions or anything, George? We're all set?
Nope, we should be all set.
Okay. Motion to adopt the agenda as we have it.
I make a motion to adopt the addenda.
Thanks, Mr. Linder. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Moore. Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion here? Nope. Okay, roll call, Mrs. DuPont.
Mr. Linder,
Yes.
Mr. Moore, Mr. Moore,
Yes, I can hardly hear you, Joyce.
Mr. Ritzenthaler,
Yes.
Mrs. Schnellinger,
Yes.
Mrs. Wick.
Yes.
Okay, treasurer's report. Go ahead, Joyce.
Okay, I will share my screen with you. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, good. So first off, we have our March financial reports. We have the regular cash reconciliation. We have our interest allocation where we allocate our interest depending on the amount that is in each fund. We have certain funds that we allocate interest to. Then we have our investment report. You'll notice the ones in yellow are the new investments. We did have a couple investments that were called. With interest rates dropping, companies are calling their investments. This means that they bring them in, pay them off, and reissue at a lower interest rate, kind of like a refinancing deal. So we've had quite a few investments that were called. So we did all of the ones here in yellow. Our new ones, you'll see rates have dropped. They're down to 1%. And I just put these three in the middle section there with the March 2022 dates because they were pretty much all at 1%. And there really wasn't a good rate other than that out there. The bottom one though, you'll see at the 1.375. This CD we were able to purchase at a discount, which means we paid less for it than the face value. The face value is 150,000. We paid, I think it was at 0.98 of the discount. So we were able to pay less for it. So that raises the interest rate on it to the 1.375, but it's a little bit longer one. Then we have our fund balance report. This is just a quick little breakdown of all of the funds and the balance that are in the funds. You'll see if it's in red and it has a negative, that means it is negative. Food service, of course, is still negative. And then the rest of these are the grant funds, which are always in the negative amounts until June because our grants are done on a reimbursement basis. So therefore we have to spend the money and then ask to be reimbursed from ODE. So those are always negative. Next, we have our comparative financial statement. This compares the months of March, this last March compared to a year ago. It shows you the yearly difference. And this is all just general fund dollars that we're looking at here. So it's kind of a recap of where we're at with the forecast. So it looks at the monthly and year to date. You'll see that real estate taxes, the remaining amount came in March. We did have a payment in February. That's why there's a monthly difference of the 948,000, whereas the annual difference were up by the 167,000. This is the final amount of real estate taxes for this fiscal year. So that amount is a final number, and the same with the personal tangible tax. And you'll remember that tangible property tax has been eliminated. The only thing left on the personal tangible is public utility personal property tangible tax, which are, well, just like sounds, public utilities, transmission lines, gas lines, anything like that. Then the rest of this is just our usual stuff, our state funding. Property tax allocation hasn't come in yet. And then our expenses down below, we have our salaries, benefits, and nothing too special with that. Next month, we'll be seeing a decrease in salaries for the fact that we're not having any of the subs or extra help working. So we'll see the decrease there. We will see an increase, of course, though, in the purchase services because we are going to be paying unemployment on all of those employees, and that comes out of a different account. It's a purchase service account. So you'll see that difference there. We are pretty much on target when you look at the percentages of, which is the next one, where we're at year to date with what we compared to for the forecast and where we're at in the fiscal year. So pretty much on target for this year. With all of this happening, casino money, obviously casino money will be dropped because the casinos are closed. But we've received all our money. Most of the impacts are going to be in next year. So all of our casino money is already in. The income tax, the next payment isn't going to be affected because it was for the previous 3 quarters. The fact that the state, the federal government and the state has moved tax day from April 15th to, I believe, July 15th, that's going to impact our next payment that's in the next fiscal year. So a lot of these effects from the economic downturn are going to show up in our next fiscal year, not really in this one. Next, we have our disbursement report. This is all of the checks that were written in the month of March and on the budgetary side. So this shows you every single check that was written for the month of March. And next report is our summary of cash balances by fund. This is a new report with our new software system we were able to do. It's kind of a neat report. So it breaks it down. It puts all of our funds into one, and it breaks it down and just basically shows you where we're at both fiscal year to date and month to date activity. So you see the beginning and the current balance, that's as of the end of March. But fiscal year to date activity, remember general fund last month was a negative fiscal year to date activity. Well, this month it's positive because with the income tax coming, or the property tax coming in, that raised the general fund amount compared to where it had been. So this basically just nets out exactly where we're at, positive or negative. And then it's all compiled by funds. The next report is the cash summary report. And this is the same report, just expanded out a little bit. So in this one, you'll see that under the fund special cost center, there's 3 of them for general fund, the general fund, the 412 reserve, and then the textbook one. If you were to add those all up together on the fiscal year to date received and subtract the fiscal year to date expended, you would get the same numbers as the report above it. So this is just a little bit more expanded report on exactly where we're at, broke down with all the different funds. It is kind of nice, our new software, we're able to run a lot more reports, and they're a lot more informative. I think it's just trying to understand exactly what they're looking at in the reports. We've had some challenges there, but it's overall really a good system. Next one's the revenue summary report, and this basically shows receivable amounts compared to what's been received. And this is based off what I did when I did the estimated resources. I put in the amounts that we are estimated to receive. And of course, this also matches up with the 5-year forecast on the general fund accounts. we had a discussion the other day about school fees, so I just kind of wanted to point that out down here where it says student and class fees. You'll see the amounts there, the 4,070 for Main Street, 1850 League and all that. So, and the high school at 48,000. The high school used to be around 60,000, but that's dropped a little bit with the changes in the Chromebook fees and a few other fees that we're not doing anymore. But you'll see overall fees, you know, it's around $60,000 a year. They haven't all been collected because the high school is the big one, and that usually doesn't get collected till closer to graduation time when everybody wants to make sure their fees are paid before graduation. But it's kind of, this one's nice because it does break it down so you can see exactly what's meant to be received by each one. And our final, and this last month I had a lot more funds on there, but I dropped all those funds off. So all we have this time is the general fund, the bond fund, and the permanent improvement fund, because those are really, you know, the most important funds. So I dropped off the rest of those. So those are financial reports for this month. Then next we had the minutes. So the minutes are attached for the March 17th meeting. And we'll go back, since we're done looking at this, I guess we'll go back to the other one maybe. Oh dear, I've lost it. How do I unshare my screen? Stop share. Okay. All right, so we're back. Okay, so we had the minutes, then we have a bus bid. That was some good news out there, is we did receive, part of the new budget bill was some school bus money, and this is actually for next year. And the way they determined it, it's $87,000 and change is the average cost of a brand new school bus, and then they multiply it by your state share. Our state share is 0.604, and so it works out to about $57,000 that we're going to receive for the new school bus. But part of it is we had to have the bid in by May, a date in May. So that's why I need to put it out for bid now, so that we're able to receive the grant for this. Then we have our CDs, interim deposits of CDs. This is just something, it was an audit requirement. With the new investments with the CDs, every time we have, even though it's all done through the same broker, the multi-bank securities, when it's a new bank, they wanted the board to approve it. So those are on there. We have UBS Bank, Center State Bank, Citibank, and Texas Exchange Bank. And then the final thing is the amendment to the Section 125 plan. So part of the federal legislation that came out with the CARES Act is it's allowing us to change our Section 125 plan, but it has to be adopted for approval to use flexible spending money for over-the-counter prescriptions. You may have to take something that doesn't normally require a prescription, but without a prescription, it wasn't reimbursable with the federal guidelines have changed. So now you can use your flexible spending money. So that's what the amendment to the Section 125 is. And it expanded some of the things that you can use your flexible spending money for. And that's all I have for this month.
Lost you a little bit, Joyce. All done?
That's all I have for this month. Sorry.
Okay.
Done.
We have a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, discussion? No discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mrs. Wick,
Yes.
Stollinger,
Yes.
Mr. Linder, Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenholler,
Yes. Motion carries 5-0. Still have everybody? Okay.
Yes.
Personnel.
All right, under items for approval under personnel, the first one, we have the ACT prep help and a stipend of $845, which was paid by a donation to the district. We had a community member that wanted to do something innovative and helpful for the Norwalk High School. And after a lot of discussion, they came up with the idea for an ACT program to help our students increase their scores. So part of that was hiring some of our teachers to provide the instruction of the ACT prep program. So just pointing out that that money was paid by a community member through a donation. Number two, there's the classification change. Mr. Barber's going from our 50% custodian, 50% maintenance position to 100% maintenance. And that effective date's going to be once we get the buildings and everything back up and running. So we'll determine that date at a later point. Number three, we have our teaching contracts. So we have our one-year teachers that are under a one-year contract that'll run from August 20th, 2020 for the 2021 school year. Our list of teachers that are on two-year in the two-year cycle. So that'll be for the 2021 and 21-22 school years. Our teachers that are on the three-year limited contract cycle, which is, as you can see there, 2021, 2021, 22, and 22, 23. And then two teachers that have qualified for continuing contracts, which will become effective on August 20th of 2020. For summer employment, as we're formulating our summer plans, we plan to continue with all of our tech improvements and tech projects that we had already planned to do for this summer. So David will be helping us as he has the last few summers. And those are all of the items under personnel.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the personnel items, all of them?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, thank you, Mr. Linder. Do we have any discussion? No? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Linder?
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler?
Yes?
Mrs. Snellinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Wick?
yes,
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Superintendent's report.
Okay, the first item we have under items for approval, we have an agreement with Willard City Schools to provide services to Norwalk students who are attending the Celeryville program for the 19-20 school year. So that's for Title I services. This is very similar to what we do with other area schools that attend Norwalk Catholic schools and then receive title services there. Number two is a resolution authorizing the required third grade assessments in paper format for the 2021 school year for English language arts and math. This was a legislative change that we had planned to implement this year, but with the COVID-19 closure, the assessments were all postponed for this school year. So we're continuing that on for next school year. And our beliefs that our students will do a better job on a paper format test than a computerized test. The thinking being that third graders, it takes away one of the elements that could distract them, which is manipulating the technology. Our students, we just feel they'll perform better on paper pencil, which is what they're used to. 3 and 4 are two items that came about due to the COVID-19 closure. As part of this closure, the state requested that schools do everything within our powers to make sure that the closure of schools doesn't impact students' ability to graduate. So 3 and 4 relate to that request from the state and from Ohio Department of Education. So we're going to enact one of the provisions which they allowed us to do, which is to revert to state minimum graduation requirements for students who are eligible for graduation during the 19-20 school year. This will allow them to meet the minimum standard for graduation, and it also allows them until September of 2020 to meet those requirements and still count as graduated for the school year. And the second one relates to that as well, and it's approval for use of satisfactory and unsatisfactory alternative letter grade assessments as appropriate for students attempting to earn high school credit during the fourth quarter or summer session of the 19-20 school year. What we've done is we've contacted Norwalk High School last week, contacted any student that was at risk for not graduating and laid out a graduation plan for them. And one of those factors is they can earn credit through a satisfactory or unsatisfactory plan through their online participation. So we've done everything that the state has requested in terms of providing as best chance for these students to graduate under the circumstances of online learning. Number 5 is student insurance for the 2021 school year. And this is the same student insurance or similar student insurance that we offer every year. And number 6 there is the reading improvement plan. Because our third graders did not score 80% or higher on last year's achievement testing, we were required to formalize and lay out the reading improvement plan that we have. Pleasant is working and Maplehurst are working stellarly to raise the achievement of all our K-3 learners. And this plan just memorializes and puts into a formal plan as required by ODE. And those are all the items.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the superintendent's reports?
So
I
moved.
motion to accept.
Thank you, Mrs. Wick. So we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Snellinger. Any discussion?
I don't really have discussion, but I just have a comment on item 2. I'm glad to see that we're going to the paper format.
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Wick,
Yes.
Mrs. Stellinger,
Yes.
Mr. Linder,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Mitzenthaler.
Yes. Okay, motion carries 5-0. Ehovie News, Mrs.
I don't really have a whole lot. I had my practice with Zoom because that's how we're doing it. So I was prepared for this one. So really, unfortunately, everybody's kind of at a standstill. So
Okay,
that's it.
thank you. Okay, anything legislative report?
It's just managing what they may be doing from a COVID-19 perspective, but it's just keeping our eyes out for everything that's going on.
Okay, a lot of local involvement.
I didn't catch that.
There's a lot of local involvement right now for all districts, isn't it? Quite a bit.
Absolutely, yes. Mhm.
Okay, anything else before we adjourn tonight? Any more comments or anything to bring up?
Just a reminder that our next board meeting, we had moved it to the 21st, May 21st.
May 21st?
That, of course, will be the forecast meeting.
Good luck, Joyce.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll be in a room, a big one.
Yeah.
Ralph, I'd like to make a comment.
Sure.
Chris Higgins this afternoon posted a real nice tribute on his Facebook page to the tennis team. If any of you could get onto his page and look at it, he did a real nice job paying tribute to the coaches, to the players, and setting everything up there. I'd also like to thank all the coaches who is going through a hard time right now with them canceling sports and everything. Also, I'd like to thank all the staff, everybody that's worked so hard during this pandemic. George, you, Corey, and Joyce, everyone else, all the administrators, you're doing a fantastic job right here. And, you know, I mean, I, for one, really appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
We all do. I think we all do. This is very hard times. Everybody's doing good.
I would just like to give a huge shout out to the athletic boosters for the lights last night in the city of Norwalk. Kathy was skeptical and didn't want to go. And I said, get in the car. This is it. And when we got home, it's the first time I've seen her cry. And she said, thanks, Mom. So I said, we kind of joked around, and I said, when this kind of all happened, I said, so when's senior skip day? She laughed and she said, Mom, we're going down in Norwalk history is the only class that wants to show up.
Awesome.
You know, so we're trying to find some humor in a crazy world, but I thank everybody, and we're all hanging in there together, and go Truckers.
And the field's coming along real nice down there, Whitney Field.
It is. They've taken off the turf, and they're doing the drainage and the stonework. And then we'll come to a bit of a grind and halt as the company that produces the turf is not, they're not working right now. But once they get going, they assure us they'll get our turf produced, and we should see some more action down there.
Cool.
Let's just hope we can actually play on it in the fall.
That's my thought too.
Well,
If
I
I
got
could
that
add-
figured out. I think if we get ready to play football, we give everybody lasers on their chest And when they get within 6 feet, the laser goes off. The ball gets past them. It's a touchdown, or if you stay within the zone, you can get the interception. So Ralph told me they're going to make this work. That's the only way I can think of making it work.
That might be $1 million idea there. You might want to patent that.
The fall is going to be a very interesting return, I have a feeling.
I think so.
If I could just add 2 items just for information, as has been mentioned, the spring sports season was canceled. So Mr. Slaughter and Ms. DuPont will be working on refunding the students that have already paid their athletic fees for the spring semester or for the spring season. They'll be working on getting those refunds. They have the names, and they'll be working to refund those families. The second one I want to point out is Norwalk High School is doing a phenomenal job of coming up with great ideas to honor our seniors and to come up with something really cool and amazing for their graduation. It's hit all of us, the things that the seniors have lost, so many memories that, all of us hold dear from our high school days that this group of seniors has lost out on. So Mr. Cooley and his staff, they have some really neat ideas that they're working on. And, we'll use whichever alternative method that is allowable based on the rules, come the end of May. But I'm confident they're going to have a really special graduation for these guys in light of everything that's going on in the world.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Mrs. Wick. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any discussion on that? I don't think so. We all probably had it. So roll call, please.
Wick,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Linder,
Yes.
Mr. Ritzenthaler,
Yes.
Mrs. Schellinger.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Stay safe out there, please.
Amazing history in the making right here. First time ever for Norwalk City School District.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Bye, guys. Stay safe.
Bye.
Be safe.